Welcome back everybody, JX here. We're going to take a break from the endless amounts of streams, and we're going to do an actual video this time. And today's video is going to go over how to beat the new Gogeta. As you can see on the lovely board over here, the link required to beat Gogeta is the same as it was before, yet it is still big bad bosses. And it in fact grants you an attack and defense increase by 25% when your HP is 80% or below. I will also provide a screenshot here of all available characters right now, in Japan at least, that have this link active, so you can make a team similar and or otherwise similar to what I have created here. I have a team set up already here, with the big bad bosses links ready and active to go. So when we find our friend here, we'll get going. There we go, there's a sweet little rose. Alright, my current team is set up pretty much in a way that allows me a tad bit survivability, a tad bit of big bod bouncing, and a tad bit of just damage over round. It's a lot of, you know, high tier units, but there's some mixed of units in here, like full power Frieza, Janemba, the older one, so it doesn't have to be a team completely consistent of this. This is just a team that I find works right now. Go ahead and set up some better items, actually. For Gogeta especially, you want to focus more on defending yourself rather than trying to do anything to him. So things like Ushers here would be nice because you can skip his turns. He's immune to stunning and sealing, so you pretty much have to ensure that you're going to kill him before he kills you. Unlike our friend Janemba, who's a dodging maniac, Vegeta's all about raw power and blowing you up before you blow him up. So it's basically a race against who wins first. I'm actually running, sadly, a little low in items lately, but one item that could particularly help you here might be the new scatter item, as it'll tell you which Gogeta in the turn is going to ult you, so you can basically plan otherwise. I won't use this myself because, personally, until the 5th item slot comes, I don't really find that to be that useful, but it has its uses here and there. We'll focus mostly on, I think, a mix of damage and just healing. I find that more healing items the better, because then you can take a wallop and then turn around and give him a wallop back. Alright, let's see what's in store for us. If you're having trouble, as with any of these bosses, always go down the path that gives you the power-ups versus the path that's going to give you some items here and there. You want to focus on the best chance of surviving rather than the best chance of maybe surviving, because it's 50 stamina cost right now to go in and do it again. So if you lose or fail, that's 50 stam down the drain, and the way stamina rates aren't right now, that doesn't come back after a good while, so make sure you're appropriately prepared going down the paths. Alright, starting off, you're going to have Angel Goku and Angel Vegeta. Typically these fights are, nothing too dramatic, but this is for typically players who don't know what they're getting into. They walk in here and they pretty much get walloped by these guys, and then they realize a little too late that, oh, maybe I should have come a bit more prepared. We're going to aim at taking Vegeta down first. Note too that the big bad boss's passive won't be active, I believe, until Gogeta himself enters the scene, typically as with any other boss. While these two obviously fuse to become Gogeta, he's not considered it, so until he's there, your passive will not activate. Alright, looks like we're making quick work of them. You can see why the villain output works out very nicely. Everyone links very smoothly, cleanly. Well, you should be done with this turn. And that's exactly what you're hoping for. Also, because our HP is now under 80%, the big bad boss's link itself is active, but the specialty link is still not active. Alright, this should take care of Goku. Once he's down, we should move on to the next phase, which I believe will be Pycon. That or Deku. Alright. it is V.2. Since it now switches to a physical fight, you can adapt accordingly, but right now the fight itself still isn't ramping up into anything too crazy or extreme. You should be able to handle this just the same before. What I'm doing right now is setting up a better way of attacking V.2 to ensure that all my mainstay players are hitting while still using Omega to partially block. If played correctly, we should be looking good. Also, if you're looking for what less 80% health is, down here in your health bars, it just means 2 of these bars. You have 10 in total, 8 out of 10, 80%. So if you're ever curious if your practice is active or not, there you go. Easiest reminder. Looks like we're making short work of V.2 himself. We'll use Cooler to block here, as his defense value is almost twice that of Rose's. Janemba, as he purely is a blocker, and Rose to final hit. This should end the V.2 fight this turn. Good. Smooth sailing so far. Now we jump to the Pycon fight. No real changes here, except for the fact that he is now tech and now has 5 bars of life. So now this is when you're going to have to start playing a little bit of attention, since he's going to be attacking me close to 3, 4, 5 times this turn, with Rose in the middle. An improper hit could end the fight this turn. So what I'm going to actually do is activate a Yama for this to ensure 50% of the damage is taken less immediately, ensuring that even if he ults us all the way down to maybe dangerous levels, we won't be dead, allowing the Senzu Bean to bring us back to full and essentially allowing us to reset the fight. We're under 82, so we have big bad basses. Man, some evil fish around here. Big bad boss is active. As I've said before, though, because it's not Gogeta yet, we are still fighting without any specials active. Yeah, see, it's a good thing we did that. If we'd taken that hit naturally, that would have hit us close to 90,000 of our only 150,000 health. Since we're using an old school lead like Rose, I guess you really call him old school, but an older lead, without the 120% active, you'll have far less health active if you're using a villain team set up this way. That's one thing to be careful of, too, when making this team, because there's no way to set up an actual villains team with 120% lead the way you want it. At least with a full Big Bad Boss is active. We'll have Omega hit this turn, we'll have Cooler follow up, and we should have Janemba finish this, allowing us to push into the final phase. Also remember too, Omega being on the field, meaning he's already passively hitting 30% less harder just by him being all around, so it's a very useful passive to have here. If you can manage to get Cooler on here, Cooler himself just being a bombardment of attacks and strength is a great form here. He also links incredibly well with Full Power Frieza, who also does incredible amounts of damage. So those two mixed together make a very nice little tag team here. Looks like he wasn't finished off immediately, but yeah, he'll be done this turn. And between Rose and Frieza, there's no doubt in my mind. We'll go ahead and heal up the full to prepare for Gogeta the next phase and push out of this. Excellent. So far this is going almost without issue. Now we reach Gogeta the big man himself. He'll be attacking us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times on this turn. Due to Cooler having type advantage and Omega being on the team, we'll have Cooler block. The only risky situation to have here is someone like our Merge Zamasu. If he gets ult incorrectly, we're dead. So this is why an item like Icarus is good, because it'll carry through this turn and next turn having damage reduction. In fact, if you're unsure of yourself, activating 2 Icarus will jump that damage reduction up to about 80%. Having that should ensure you at least a nice blanket of comfort. Also, correction, it's 70%, not 80%. Yeah, there you go. Our only downside is Big Bad Bosses is not technically active right now, but they should still be doing a normalized amount of damage without Gogeta passively blocking between them. I almost sort of want Gogeta to ult us now, with all that damage reduction. It should hit us hard enough to at least drop us below 80, leaving us in a safe enough zone to feel comfortable with doing the attack. We'll be attacking twice in each turn. Still nothing too dangerous yet. And we have a Dokkan active with Frieza hitting. This should hit for a fair amount of damage. Also, if you look at Gogeta's icon up there now, you'll see those 2 slash marks through him. The yellow slash mark through it means he's immune to stunning. The red slash mark meaning he's immune to sealing. Alright, here comes his first ult. There we go, that dropped us below 80%. Now let's see if the boss skill will activate properly. You saw the orange bar right there with Rose, so it may be active now already, but we'll know for sure after this. Alright, there we go. All the boss skills are active. Everybody's where they need to be, and we're right under 80. That's pretty impressive. Just a tad millimeter more and we would have made the mark. Lastly, for survivability's sake, and just to make any, like, you know, oops, he might have ulted wrong, we'll clear that out. We'll have Cooler hit him, Omega hit him, and Rose finish this. In between all 3 of them hitting with the special active, this should see the end of Gogeta. He'll hit us with the ult. Cooler will absorb it, type advantage wins. He'll hit Gogeta. This should do a fair amount of damage now. Yeah, there's the big numbers you're looking for. With Big Bad Boss active and the special. Now we'll have Omega smack him again. Greatly reduces defense. 220,000. And if Rose plays this correctly, we will end this here. And there you have it. That's one of the simplest ways right now to beat Gogeta, so if it seems to be a bit overwhelming, that's probably just because, as with most of these guys, you're just not using the proper links, so they end up defending more damage than you'd allow them for. I will do one more fight here with another team I find that can clear this pretty quickly, and that will be a physical-based extreme team. And I will be back when that team is ready. And welcome back. Here we are with the physical team setup. Luckily for physical and 2, all the bosses here, barring Broly and Super 17, all have the Big Bad Bosses link. As I don't personally have physical black, you would easily replace somebody else here, and you would use him the same as anybody else. You'd probably replace Super 17 with him and or Broly, but the smarter choice would be Super 17. But I have him here as an orb changer, a typical mono extreme physical right now, and yeah, we'll give this a go. This may actually be easier than the team I used previously, but we'll find out. just the sheer damage that Cooler can output makes for a pretty easy time. We'll go ahead and grab a couple little orbs here and there. Strictly just as what-if scenarios. These are always nice to have. Also, as question mark blocks have a chance of giving a large amount of key bonuses. Sin only got 2, but sometimes I can go up to 4 or 5, so I typically try to land on those. Alright. Big difference, as I stated before, is actually the only 2 who don't have the Big Bad Bosses link are active on the team right now. It would be Broly and Super 17. But for our purposes, that shouldn't be the end of the world. That's unfortunate that you don't ult that early on, but it should be alright. Sometimes you pay on the first turn with having the wrong team set up. Okay, now we're back into multitudes of teams that have the correct setup. Big Bad Bosses will be active, just not as active as we need it to be. Yeah, full power freeze on a team like this, especially Mono Extreme, can output some massive damage. They've been Cooler linked so well together, and they do nothing but pure damage. Yep, we move right to the next phase, like it was nothing. We'll jump into the V.2 fight like last time. Looks like a similar ordeal. If we had more HP, you can actually count on Majin Buu's passive here to be pretty useful to you. But if you're lower on the HP to him, typically he's not as useful as he could be. I guess to clarify further on that, the further up your HP is, the more damage you get for everyone currently on the active turn. So the closer you are to 50%, the less damage you're doing. But if you come in at full HP, and say he lands on a turn with full power Frieza and Cooler, you may one-shot a boss. The damage output's purely insane. But speaking of moving on phases, having double Cooler, Frieza in the middle, and Cooler in the last, yeah, there's little chance that V.2 will be seeing past this turn. Yep. You see that absolute outrageous damage output. And that cancels out V.2 for the turn, moving on to PyCon. Similar to what I said previously, we'll tone his damage down just a tad. I will actually use our first healing item. I considered saving it, but for the setup I have in mind, it'd be better to possibly go into Gogeta with less than 80 immediately rather than healing at the very last second, so we can start with the Big Bad Bosses link active, unlike the previous fight. Senshin around here is very nice too, as his ultimate will lower his attack done to you by 30%, allowing you to take a couple more hits. Alright. We're back in a proper phase again, allowing our heaviest hitters to take the mark now. Unfortunately though, we did take a fair amount of damage between those guys. and that was with damage active. So we may have to activate another one to ensure safety into the final phase here. In fact, for Cautionary's Tale, we'll use one more healing item. Obviously better safe than sorry. If you are rolling with Cooler and his passive happens to give you 2 ults like this, that's the best you can ask for. Oh yeah. We're more than fine now. In fact, we're going to Gogeta with full health again. Which surprisingly is less helpful. But now we'll have type advantage throughout the entire fight. Small correction on Sen Shinran as well. He will lower the enemy's defense by 30%, not attack. That is Omega. But that's still useful here is you want to do more damage, and this will let you do more damage. Also, a reminder with Broly as well, you only need up to about 7 or 8 ki for him to use his secondary passive to activate as an ultimate. Cooler's works as a chance, no matter what, so his passive has a chance of being an ultimate on a second attack. Broly's second attack will always be an ultimate if you're above 7 or 8 ki. So it's typically a good trade-off. If you need the ki, always give it to Cooler. If you don't, you can have Broly sit at where he's at right now, because you see he's attacking once, but his second additional attack is an ult now. This could have been some amazing damage. If we had the big bad bosses active with Kid Buu on this turn, this could have been incredible. But we'll make do with what we got. Oh, it looks like Frieza let us down a bit there. He's gonna have to go to the tournament without the ult, sadly. With any luck, we should see similar big numbers. 730,000. Very good. 130,000. Kid Buu allows you to pack more of a wallop than you really imagine. Somehow we still managed to maintain just above 80%. But I guess you really can't complain with a good thing. We'll go ahead and have Cooler smack him again. We'll follow it up with a Sin smackdown. And he may or may not die this turn. Relatively scot-free. The only problem with the physical villain teams like the one I have is physical villains are very, very limited. So trying to find a useful amount of villains can be a lot harder than it imagines. Everyone's doing a fair amount of damage, which is very good on our part. We're under 52, which means the link is active, and this will be game. We'll go ahead and end this with Cooler, because he is the carrying weight here. And that is the end of Gogeta. Use villains, or use physical, but as you can see, once you know how, basically if you want to call it the secret to the fight, once you know how it works, you're good to go. Problem solved. But with that, I hope this helps out those who needed it. I hope you're able to awaken Pycon/Gogeta if you can. And yeah, we'll be back next time for Janemba. Until then guys, take it easy now.